"28 days and counting, guys, till we get to the Great American Eclipse, passing from Mexico all the way into parts of wave country, all the way to Niagara Falls. 28 days away. Actually, not the first Monday, but a Monday in early April the 8th. We shall see how that plays out. I will say some of the earlier data we're getting so far does look to be an active storm track, and there will likely be chilly air involved at some point in that period, but how chilly and all that has to be worked out. I don't think temperature is as big of an issue as cloud cover, obviously. We need to get the sky to be mainly clear so that we can at least enjoy that. That's on our end to try to keep you guys updated as we get down the road. Right now, we're not to the point yet to be able to get a forecast out, but I promise you I'm looking at it every single day. All right, welcome to Storm Talk, though, is the main focus today. I'm meteorologist Brian Good. Hope you guys are doing well. I had a good weekend. Wasn't a terrible weekend. I mean, Saturday wasn't the greatest of weather, but still the drizzle held off enough for a lot of you to enjoy the St. Patrick's parade, even though it was a cold wind. At least it wasn't overly rainy. That's good. Sunday was beautiful yesterday, absolutely beautiful out. Just windy. Today we have the calmer wind and decent amount of sunshine. So we get the Goldilocks type day today. Tomorrow, very similar. And then we get into a few little bumps in the road as we evolve through this week. The headline this week, though, is going to be two things, really. One, the warmer weather. We're back into the 70s, if not even getting closer to 80 in some spots before the week is over, which is nice. That will lead to more thunderstorms later in the week, some of which could actually be strong, something we're also watching. And then the headlines in the extended, which I'll get to, will be the changes that we'll likely see for the last 10 days of March. As always, you guys can comment on our social media pages as YouTube, Twitch, or you can on Twitch. I just don't think I'll see it, but on Twitter and on Facebook. So I see Dan, ready for the 70s. I know you are. Hello, Angela. Hope all is well. Hello, Brian. One last try. You know what? And you're right. I do think this will be one last try from winter coming our way. I'll explain. Good morning, Paul. Hope all is well. Madison, Indiana, and good morning to Judy watching this morning. All right, let's start with the setup that we'll get back to the eclipse a different day. But let's talk about how we're enjoying that beautiful sunshine today. Look at that, cloud-free at the moment. A lot of frost out there this morning. I think we will have another day with a lot of frost for tomorrow. So keep your routine intact there that you started today. 33 now in Louisville. It looks like Louisville did drop to 30 this morning. The official was 31, but it looks like we had a slight drop right after the sunrise period. So 19 was the coldest I could find in Kentucky, and that was in Brandenburg. You guys came in at 19.3 technically. Don't have all the stats for Indiana, but I'm sure that you guys got up there too as far as being in the rankings or being in the lower 20s at times. Well, with dry air and a clear sky, you warm up rapidly in this scenario. That's exactly what we're going to do. So I've got the visible satellite turned on. Now, I'm not used to this, because normally this time of the day when I'm showing you the visible satellite on the blog, we have something to show, at least an idea that the sun is up. But here's the problem. We're now at daylight saving time. So Everything is off by an hour. So only image I've got, and it's a brief image, is the couple frames on the eastern coast there near Washington, D.C. and Boston. That's about all I get for data. A little bit of rain and cloud cover there along I-10 corridor in the southeast, but the sun isn't high enough yet to give us a full image. So that's going to be a challenge on the blog in the mornings until we see the sunset, try to ease back into an earlier, it'll begin to retreat back to an earlier time, but it'll take until late May to get there. All right. So as we look at the wider view, fairly quiet in the lower 48. There is a couple of systems here. There's going to be one to be diving across the north. There's one developing to the south. Same idea. We're going to have a dual setup of low pressures moving through. One will influence us more than the other, but no one big system that will dominate the country from one end of the country to the other. That cuts down on a lot of the drama of a bigger system that can come with it this time of the year when it comes to widespread severe weather, very heavy snowfall, dramatic temperature changes. We're not seeing that kind of a setup with this week. It's very similar to last week where we got kind of a muddy setup on low pressures moving through. So you kind of avoid some of the extremes. Now that will likely change as we evolve into next week. I think we'll end up with larger systems and more of a headache coming our way. Let me show you where we stand on temperature. You can see much of the country anywhere you got a lighter blue, especially, and certainly into the pink color. That is, pink color indicates below freezing. So we had that this morning, and seeing that the past couple frames, we lost it over the Ohio Valley as we've warmed up now to above freezing in many spots. So we're improving here. But I mean, a good chunk of the Ohio Valley was quite cold this morning. We were the pocket of very cold air. Same story, of course, into the Rockies where they out of the snow. Only warm pockets are still down, as you would expect it, Texas into Florida. All right, today looking good. I think we'll hit 60 or so this afternoon. Tonight, again, frost likely to develop. We get into tomorrow. Not a bad looking day on Tuesday. I think we'll have a few clouds later in the afternoon. Otherwise, temperatures have a good chance to get well into the 60s, maybe get close to 70. It's going to be a race against the clock on the high cloud cover. And here's one of the smaller wrinkles that develops. That will be Wednesday morning. A little wave of showers will move through across areas of Illinois into Indiana. Maybe a rumble of thunder, mainly into showers, though. These will race in here likely for Wednesday morning. This has got this particular model, like 9:30. I've seen some data show as late as 11:30 to 12 noon that it'll move through. Either way, it looks fast. It moves in, moves out. It's nothing major, but if you have anything you're trying to work on outside, whether it's outdoor work, any kind of painting or anything like that, and you're hoping on getting completely dry days until we get the active weather Thursday and Friday, just be aware of this little bump that could sneak in and mesh things up for you there early on Wednesday. So it's not going to impact all of us, but it has been persistent. It was there last week, and when I was looking at it, and it's still here today. So it's very persistent, which usually means it's still got a good chance of happening. Once we get into Friday and parts of Thursday into Friday, very interesting setup where we've got a warm front. You can see hints of it here, right there from St. Louis into about Bowling Green. This boundary is going to lift to the north and east as we head into Thursday. Once it does, it'll be parked roughly around south of Chicago, near Indianapolis, and around Kings Island. It'll be parked in that area. That will allow us to get well into the 70s. Again, perhaps touching 80 in some spots if it can stay cloud-free in that warm sector, mainly south and west of Louisville. But while we're in that sector, thunderstorms are going to want to pop somewhere around Illinois or perhaps into Indiana, and they will be right turning into parts of Kentucky. That is can't be a severe weather signal. They are usually quite isolated when they do this kind of setup with a warm front, but they can be sneaky as far as producing some large hail sometimes. So we'll need to watch those and see how that plays out. That, again, will be later on Thursday into parts of Friday. Otherwise, there is an actual cold front to the west. You don't see it here. I'll show you in a second. That will at least sweep through here. But right now, the timing of it moving in would be at a time when we would have a reduction in severe weather potential. The parameters a little more favorable actually on Thursday than they will be on Friday because the rain on Friday arrives a bit early. All right, so let me show you. This is from a combination here of the Storm Prediction Center and in Colorado State, the learning module. And it, again, hard to see, but you can see it's got the severe risk anywhere painted there into the brown, all the way down into the lighter yellow, and then the red, of course, is the real rough stuff. That's where your main low will be. So you can see why it's even got a hatch area that CSU's got. for areas of the Red River Valley heading toward the Arklatex area of the country. So that is where your main severe weather chance will be. But it does extend into Illinois, into Indiana here. It is not taking us out of the equation completely, and I can see why, because the setup with the warm front. Storm Prediction Center does not have us outlook for that. They are just focusing on the main risk, which would match CSU right there into the Arklatex area. So that makes sense. Again, this is an extended outlook from SBC. So usually when you get closer, you'll end up with different categories, and it's possible we'll get like a marginal. I would think at least a marginal as we head into your Thursday. So something to watch as we get toward a Thursday this week and see how that evolves. But there is at least some severe potential with that. Here it is on the model form. I'm going to start the clock with the Euro here on Wednesday. There's a little sneaky wave. We just started giving these systems names. Let's be like the Weather Channel and just name everything. We'll name this one Squirt. All right, here goes Squirt. Moving on by. It moves into the area again early on Friday, early on Thursday, Wednesday. I'll get it right. Maybe I need to go back to bed. It's not going to start off a good note here for this week. All right, that was Wednesday's little sneaky wave, Squirt. Thursday is where we're watching for those storms that would form into Illinois and Indiana. And if you look carefully, the red indicates the fuel areas or the unstable potential, the atmosphere. And see, we're in that Illinois, Indiana, right to the Ohio River. And then you get south of the river, it's nothing. So anything that were to develop in Illinois and Indiana, if it does indeed become more of a right turning type of motion and dives toward southern Indiana, that could provide, again, for a few strong thunderstorms, something we'll be watching. Otherwise, this will be the main show here. And then all this mess, again, is heading eastbound, as you're about to see. It gets its act together, moves in, produces thunderstorms mainly across the south. They will be moving faster than the northern part will be. So that's the reason why I think overall your severe threat is going to be here. Very limited threat on Friday. Right now, I think because of the timing on this being early enough in the day, I don't see much happening. If that timing changes, yes, we'll come back around and hash that out again. But right now, I think Thursday is probably more likely day. All right, it passes on by, and this is where things get a little weird. All right, I think we're going to be fine on Saturday. After Saturday, we get into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, that about a 3 to 4 day window where the modeling is trying to figure out, okay, wait a minute, there has been a change in the weather pattern. We are starting to see colder shots of air. They're diving in out of Canada, and we're still getting energy moving in across the south. How do we handle this? Because it's an anomaly event now. It's becoming a little off the rail of what you normally would see for the last, again, 10-day window of the month of March. And because of that, it has one piece moving down, one across the south. It doesn't know what to do with it. So it keeps them generally separate, where you got a wave of thunderstorms, and then you got an upper low that moves in with general light rain and or snow showers moving through the Ohio Valley. I think this system, based on timing, and I think this will evolve this way, is this should be a larger system. I think this will be a little more of a significant wave that will be rolling in out of the area of Georgia and Alabama. I think this is going to be a little more significant on the wintry side, on the northern portion, and on the severe side on the southern side of the track of the low. That's my gut feeling on how it looks above, and that will take some time for this map to adjust and kind of evolve into what will likely be a little more of a significant system moving through. I'm not saying it's going to be a snow event for us. I can't get to that much detail yet. I can just tell you that looking at it from afar, it will likely be a more significant system. The details, the finer details on thunderstorms and snow and rain and cold and all that kind of stuff, that takes another week or so to evolve and kind of fine tune. So we'll be watching it, but just be aware that St. Patrick's Day itself may actually be a bit messy for us in the area. And this will likely keep repeating itself as we head down the road. We will likely keep seeing one system after another will kind of do the same thing. You get a little bit of a warming trend, modest warming at that, and then another cool shot of air that moves in. You induce another strong low pressure, and this pattern will likely keep going until early April, the way it's looking. One of the big changes has been the EPO, East Pacific Oscillation. Again, below the black line means that this is where it's been so far. And the circles that are not filled in is where it's going. That's the forecast. And it dives below the black line as we head into about the 15th of March. This basically has been the main driver, in my opinion, of what controlled our winter, or the lack thereof. It went negative twice, I believe, and both times it went negative. We did get snow, but that was it, twice. And they weren't exactly big snows, but it was the only time we got it. This controls how much Pacific air just floods the country. And if you're in the positive category, that Pacific air is going to flood the country and you're going to be warm. Even if the other teleconnections say that an Arctic blast is coming, this feature is stronger and more significant. And it has another big drop coming into play. In fact, it's nearly off the chart, dropping down around the 17th of March. So the idea of us flipping to a colder pattern is certainly on the table because we've shut off again the Pacific flow. So what then happens? Well, in looking at it too, that was the actual model run. Here's the ensemble. It's a little more longer range. You may not be able to see the dates, but this is April. We do not get back to the black line or try to get back to a positive territory until April. So this could mean solidly a 2-week window in March below normal temperatures, which normal is in the 50s now. So below normal would be 30s and 40s, not an Arctic plunge. We're not going to be below zero or anything like that, but uncomfortably cool. I say that because we're all thinking about spring. We'll be approaching the first day of spring on the 19th with this pattern, and we instead may be talking about temperatures being colder than normal. So it's going to be a little tough to get through if you're a big spring fan, you're ready for the warmer weather. This is the kind of pattern that's kind of just going to be a bit of a bummer. It's going to reset things for us and get it back to wearing winter coats for a while until we get past this wave. Once we get past this, I think this is winter's last gasp. I don't see much happening once we get past this window and we bounce back above that positive line, which may take about the first week of April. I think that's it. I think spring is sprung in for sure at that point, and then we get ready for summer. So this is it, snow lovers. If you want anything out of this pattern, and it's tough to get it, but you absolutely can. This is your last gasp to hold on to something that could develop down the road. All right. So mixed good and bad news today. Hey, maybe it'll ease the allergy and pollen count if we ease back on some of the really warm weather. I'm trying to look at the positive on this. Let's see. Austin, any chance of prolonged warmer weather? Yeah, hopefully I just answered it. Sorry, I'm a little bit delayed on getting your questions. It would have to be April before we really can get that prolonged warm weather. Usually around here, it's about Mother's Day. We always say don't plant anything until Mother's Day or Derby Day to Mother's Day. Those are the two dates we go by. This year, I think it will be earlier than that, but it may not seem like it with the cold weather pattern that's going to be taking over for a couple of weeks. But I do think we'll be earlier than scheduled on that this year. So kind of a mixed feeling, right? I know this has got part of the eclipse period involved in it too. Cold weather in the spring season induces cloud cover. So that's kind of the only thing we need to watch is how much of that is going to be a problem for the eclipse. All right. Anything else I can try? Let's see. What was that? This is going to feel like negative temps being so cold. Yeah, that's the thing. It's all about relative. I mean, 50 degrees in the spring. Actually, let me change that. 60 degrees in the spring feels like 90. But 60 degrees once you get into September feels like it's February outside. Like the Arctic plunge is coming. So it's all relative. Our bodies have a different way to adapt to temperatures. Our mindsets look at the same temperature in two different ways based on what you're used to. And that's the key point. So thank you for pointing it out because it is the key on this. So yeah, it is going to likely get colder than normal, but it's going to feel miserable because we've been spoiled with warm surges of air lately. So our bodies will be like, ugh, this is awful. Although some of this air coming that is colder than normal actually wouldn't have been too bad if we just stayed at that level all through February and then eased right into it through March. It wouldn't have been as bad. So it's all about the relative nature of it all, right? All right, guys, I'm in it there. Don't want to ramble too much today because we overall it is a fairly quiet week. Just again, a couple of bumps. Watch those sneaky showers on a Wednesday. Watch squirt, and then watch for the thunderstorms that may sneak into the area on parts of Thursday. And rainy and stormy on Friday. We get a break Saturday, and then Sunday through early next week. We'll just see how that system evolves in the southeast corner of the country and how cold it actually will trend as we get closer. All that will get worked out. But my take on this, enjoy the 70-degree temperatures coming our way this week because it may be a while before we get back to those numbers again. Fair enough? All right, guys. Appreciate you as always. I'll have more coming up on midday as the new models come in, although they come in later now with daylight saving time. So meteorologists are not happy.